Hello. So today we're going to be building an AI sales agent, and I'm going to just put a small warning out from now that it's a really long build. It's a long process to build this thing. But if you are a small to medium-sized business, this will literally make you more money. It will make you money. So to get into what it is exactly that we're going to be building, I've got this little thing here. So what we're making is an agent that automatically sends personalized emails to your leads. It automatically tracks the responses so we can see how often we followed up, and it'll follow up, depending on what their response was to the last one. Manages call scheduling, so it'll automatically send a Calendly link and it'll track if that meeting happened or not. And if the meeting didn't happen, it will send a reminder to reschedule to that lead. And if it did happen, it will send over the thank you for having the meeting and what we discussed in the meeting and all that stuff. So here's the thing that this thing will do. When you have a lead enter your lead list, it auto moves them to the CRM. It sends up to 3 personalized follow-up emails when you initiate contact, which is via a check mark in the CRM. It stops emailing once they book a call, sends a follow-up if they missed the call, and tracks everything in your CRM and spreadsheet. So it's a very long build. I want to just again put that out there from now because it's a while to build this thing. But once you do, you end up with something that's very spectacular and very good for your business. If you're a small to medium-sized business, you will have a full sales development representative that is an AI agent, which costs very little to run per month and has a ton of capabilities. It doesn't get sick. It works for you the whole year. It won't ever stop. It goes 24/7, whether you're asleep and a lead enters the CRM and you're sleeping, but the leads enter the CRM, it automatically gets the email. And if it books a call, gets a follow-up email for that. If it doesn't book a call, gets a follow-up email for that. And you don't have to even pay attention to any of that stuff. So you can focus on the customers and let the agent in the back work on converting the leads to the customers. So what we're building is this, a little flow chart here. So we have the CRM agent, which is a trigger, and then the follow-up agent, which will actually do the 3 follow-ups, depending on whether the lead has booked a call or not. Then once the meeting is scheduled to happen, the concierge agent will confirm whether the lead actually showed up to the meeting or not. If they showed up, that's updated in the CRM that they showed up, and it triggers a new flow, which is now based on what you discussed in the meeting. And if they didn't show up, then it updates the CRM and starts a new sequence, and that's called the no-show follow-up. So that's pretty much what it looks like, right? This is what it looks like in the bare bones. Now I'm going to show you what the actual end-to-end flow looks like, which is massive. This is what the N8N flow looks like. So it's a pretty it's a big one. It is. We have trigger looping over items, updating the CRM, more CRM updates, more CRM updates, more CRM updates. We check which leads have booked a call but not in the sequence, a bunch of filtering. We have 3 stages of follow-ups here, each running on a Gemini chat model. We have, in case Calendly link is booked by somebody, so we know a meeting has been booked, it marks that in the CRM so you know which leads you have a meeting with and when you have them. And then it'll check at the end of the day which of the meetings occurred. Now, the ones that didn't, it will send a reschedule to the lead that was supposed to be there. And it will mark that as lead did not attend. And you'll get to know everything. So if you have hired somebody to do this all for you, then you can, obviously now automate it like this. And we'll go through the entire build literally right now from start to finish. And yeah, okay, so to get started, all we're gonna do is we'll start by setting up the credentials first before we jump into actually building it. So looking at this, there's a couple of credentials we have. We have a Google Sheets credential, we have a Gmail credential, we have a Gemini credential, and we have a Calendly credential right there. Okay, so those are the main ones that we have. So how do you set this up? Well, you open N8N and you log into your account on N8N. If you don't, you can just sign up for free and you will get a 14-day trial on using any of them. If you have an account already, simply we're just gonna go to the overview screen, and then you're gonna click credentials, and here are all of the credentials that I have, right? There's quite a few, obviously. So to set it up, all you're gonna do is go ahead and press create credentials. So if, for example, you want to set up your Google Sheets one, you're gonna go to Sheets, and you're gonna do the OAuth 2 API, press continue. You just click sign in with Google, and it's gonna ask you to confirm the sign in. So if I just go ahead and confirm this, okay, continue, and that's that. All right, that's pretty much how you do it. That's for Google Sheets. I'm gonna just remove this because I already have a Google Sheets one. And the same goes for Gmail. You're gonna go to Gmail or to API, continue. It's gonna ask you to again sign in with Google, so just sign in with Google and you'll have that set up. And the last one is Gemini. Now, Gemini or OpenAI, whichever one you want to use, is a little bit of a tricky one. So what I'd recommend you do is use something called Open Router. So if we go to Open Router, you're just gonna go to Open Router, and you're gonna go ahead and say get API key. All right, so you can see here my usage is $0 because I haven't put any money in. So what you need to do is you need to go to credits, click credits, and you need to buy some credits. Now you can just top up $5. That'll work perfectly fine. If you want to do it like this, just top up $5 into this thing. Or if you want to do it with OpenAI, that's the good thing with Open Router is you get access to OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, Grok, all the models that you want. You can access them via this. So go ahead, put them in, and then you're gonna get the API key here. You're gonna I'm gonna just create a new one just to show you. So I'm gonna create a new one, and I'm gonna call this agent. I'm gonna create this. You copy the clipboard, go here. I'm gonna say create credential, open router. You paste in the API key. I'm gonna say sales agent. Press save. Okay, it's been tested and it's working. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use Open Router because I don't have any money in it, but this is basically what I would recommend that you do is put $5 into Open Router. You are going to be perfectly able to run this entire thing. All right, the last one we have to do is Calendly. Now, Calendly, again, is a little bit of a tricky one, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So you first want to just actually open Calendly. Okay, so sign up for free. It's completely free. The whole service is free. So we're just gonna open it up here. It's loading a little bit slow today. Okay, once you're in and you've set up the thing, which is very easy to do, all you're gonna do is come to integration and apps, press this. You scroll, and okay, here while you're here, make sure you set up the actual things that you're gonna use in the meetings that you're gonna have. So I have my meetings are on Google Meet and Google Calendar, so I've only connected those two. You can connect Zoom, you can connect HubSpot, whatever you want. So scroll down until you see the APIs and webhooks and click that one. And then you're gonna do generate new token. Name it whatever you want. I have a sales agent one already, so I'm just gonna call this YouTube demo and create token. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna get an email with this verification code. So I got that here. No, here. 990755. Okay, so 990755, there it is. 990755. 990755. Okay. I'm not sure what that issue was, but anyways, you type that in, you get this right here. So you're gonna press copy token. And you're gonna come here, you're gonna go to create new credential, and we're gonna put Calendly. All right. And so for Calendly, we're gonna again just choose the API right here. Continue, paste in the API, and press save. Now this is gonna bug. okay, don't worry about the bug. It's gonna say could not connect with these settings, but that's not really true. It actually did connect, just that NHN right now has a bug. So it'll be fixed when they release the update or whatever. It's fine the way it is, so don't worry about that. Okay, now I'm gonna go plus here, new workflow, personal, and here we have a blank screen for us to get started. Before we go there are two links in the description that you're going to need to open up and make a copy of them. This is the first one. It's the lead list, and this is the second one, which is the CRM. The CRM has two different sheets. Sheet one is the actual CRM, and sheet two is the URI tracking, which is how we determine if a lead actually joined the meeting or not. So I'll put these both links down there, make a copy of them, and you're good to go after that. When you make a copy though, they will be empty. There won't be any data in there, but this is basically what you're gonna need, and you can just copy it over into your thing, and that'll be everything else that you need to do. So we need to we need to keep everything in the CRM, because the CRM is like the single source of truth for the entire agent. And now we've done a lot of talking, and it's been 12 minutes, and we have not gotten started with the build yet. So let's go ahead and jump into building the entire thing out. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is open a schedule trigger. We're going to run it on a schedule. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what schedule you do. I'm just going to have it run once every day at midnight. All right, so we're gonna have it like this. And the next thing now is gonna be a Google Sheets node. Now, when you come here, and we're gonna just click on Get Rows in Sheet, you're gonna see your account. Right now, I'm gonna just use my original account. You'll see the credential that you made here. You need to click that one. All right, so you click the one that you made just now, where you connected your Gmail account to the Google Sheets API, and that was connected to N8N when we did the credentials just 5 minutes ago. So pick that one. So sheet within document, get rows from the list. We're gonna get the leads list, and we're gonna use sheet one. I mean, it is the only sheet in that list. And okay, that's like the first thing. So if I run this, it's just gonna go, because I have 4 people in my leads list here just for the demo of the video, and it's gotten all 4 of those people that are in my leads list. Okay, cool. Next, we're gonna do a loop. Now we're gonna do a loop because we want to run a certain workflow for each of the people in the leads list, but we don't want to run it for all of them at once. So that's why we use a loop. All right, so we're gonna have a loop, and we're gonna set the batch size equals to 1. And now in the replace me node here, we're gonna have another Google Sheets node, which is gonna be a update or append row in sheet. So you just type in sheets, go here, append or update row in sheet, and here we're gonna be updating the CRM. Okay, so again, let me switch to my main account, and I should have the sales agent CRM right there. We're gonna pick sheet 1, map columns manually, and select column to match on. Now we're gonna match on ID, but as you can see, there is an ID here, but there won't be when you initially are there. So to prevent an error from happening right now, just go ahead and type in null with the curly brackets. So switch to expression, type null with curly brackets, and you'll end up being able to use JSON to get that. The rest of it is very simple. We're just gonna drag and drop. Okay, we're gonna drag and drop. So first name is gonna go there. Last name is gonna go there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get rid of this CRM entry here so you can see the agent run and automatically, and it'll update the CRM by itself. So I'll just take out all of this. So we have a clean CRM. Okay. So here we have first name, last name, role, company name, company address, company industry, contact email, contact phone, website is optional. So I'm just gonna drag that there. Okay, now the rest of these, I don't want to mess with them right now because these are gonna come later. in the flow. They're gonna come when it comes to actually dealing with leads and the meetings that we've had and the nurturing sequences. So for now, just press the delete button on all of those so that we don't end up messing anything up. Okay, now we have so far gotten the lead, and we're going to take that lead and put it into the CRM. After this, we want to make sure that we can extract the contact email of the lead. So we're going to go here and we're going to do, again, another Google. Everything is going to be pretty much Sheets because that's what we're using as a CRM, but you could use Airtable or whatever else you feel like using, to be honest. And we're going to go for Get Rows in Sheet. Again, pretty much with the same setup. We're going to just go ahead. But now this time we're actually taking from the CRM. So sheet 1. And I'll run this right now for you to have a look at it. So I'll execute this step here. No data in this branch. We have this is the first one. RS Sargent is the first name there. So that's the first one we've gotten here. Now if I run this one, what we did was we pulled all these names into this, and the spreadsheet we had connected to, which was a CRM sheet 1. So now if I go to CRM sheet 1, I have my data in here, right? This is the only things that we've gotten from the lead sheet are now there. So we have that. And the next thing I want to do now is I want to get the email. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to type add filter so I can filter out the rows. And I only want to get the contact email. And what value is the email? This one right here, right? The one that's called contact email. Now if I execute this step, I'm going to get a simple output, which is just going to be the contact and the email of the person that matches this data. So we get this. This is basically just giving us the only person in the CRM list which matches the email that they had put in the lead list. Okay, so we're matching it via email because emails are unique. So you can't have two people with the same email address, right? So that's how we're matching. Now, we're calling a lot of APIs right now. We're calling a Google Sheets API 3 times in a row. So here, I'm going to just simply put a wait node, and I'm going to put a 3-second wait, just because you need to give it a minute, or you need to give it some time between API calls. Otherwise, you'll be told that you're having too many API requests, right? That can happen. So we don't want that to happen. So we're going to have a wait for just 3 seconds. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to finalize the contact record of this lead in the CRM. So we're going to go back to Google Sheets here. We're going to use a append or update row in sheet. We're going to update the sales CRM. So we're going to update the sales CRM sheet 1. Now, what I mentioned earlier is matching using the email because the email is unique, right? So here we're going to pick contact email. And we're going to match on what? On this email, the email we just got, right? We just got an email. And now we don't have an ID. So what we can use as the ID is the row number, because you can't have two row numbers that are the same, right? This row 2 until whatever, 1,000 or whatever, but you can't have row 5 and row 5 again. So we can just use the row number as the ID to represent the lead. So right now the CRM, and we need to put this ID, right? Without the ID, we won't be able to do anything. We won't be able to check these boxes. We won't be able to do nothing. We need the ID because it's the unique identifier of the lead. So the ID will just be the row number. So that means the rest of this, we can simply go ahead and delete all of this other stuff from here. We don't need any of this. So I execute this step. It has a 3-second wait. Goes here. Done. I come back here. The number 2 is now there because that's the row number, and that'll be the ID of that lead. Okay, so this is gonna feed right back because we've only done 1 out of the 4. We had 4 items. We've done only 1, so we need to pull this right back all the way in there, and it'll run again for the next 3 agents, right? But the problem is now we have R.A. Sargent in the leads list and in the CRM. So is he a customer in the customer relation management, or is he a lead, right? He's moved into customers, so we need to remove him from the lead list. And the way we do that now is with this done one. So all of the ones that it finishes doing, we want to remove them from the lead list because they've been transferred to the CRM. So I'll press summarize here, and I'm going to get the contact email. All right, just like that. And I execute step. It's now going to go through all 4 of those. You can see how it's doing it in a loop. That's 3 items total, 4 items total, and it should be done. And when it's done, we'll get to the done loop. All right, so here we are. You have the done loop. Count email 5. What does that mean? That means that we have moved leads from this list up until row 5. Everyone up until row 5 is now in the CRM, right? Because the workflow ran. So we need to remove them. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to Sheets. We're going to go delete rows or columns from Sheets. And we're going to remove them from the leads list. So I'll go here. I'll pick the leads list. And they are in Sheet 1. And we're going to delete starting from row 2. That's where the data starts. Up until what? Up until where the count found the most recent move, which was row 5. Now if I run this, we get a check, and that means everybody in the leads list is now gone because they are all here. That is the first agent of this workflow. It's going to monitor the CRM very closely for all of the things that it needs to look out for. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just put this in a little gray box because we're done with the first part of this workflow, which is honestly the simplest part. The rest of it now we're going to be dealing with LLMs and AI models and everything like that. Okay, now let's move to the follow-up sequence. Now the follow-up sequence, again, we're going to have it on a schedule trigger. By the way, quick thing, just make sure to save it, because if you don't save it, it's just hassle. You lose everything if you lose Wi-Fi or something. So make sure to save. Okay, so now we're going to go to another get row in Sheet. So let's go to Google Sheets. We're going to go here, go to get row in Sheet, and we're now fully focusing on the CRM. The lead list was simply getting us from the leads to the CRM, and now that they're in the CRM, we need to manage them from within the CRM. So from the list here, we're going to pick the CRM. We're going to obviously use Sheet 1. And now we're going to check when was a call scheduled. So if we go here and you look for a call schedule, is a checkbox. Now checkbox means it's true if it's checked, and it's false if it's not checked. Currently it's not checked, which means it's false. So, okay, so it's currently false. We're going to go here, add filter, look for the column called call scheduled. The value we want is false. Now, you're going to notice something when I run this, which is this huge output, is 91 items in this. And the reason for that is because the call booked false is literally every single row in this sheet. Now, we obviously don't need all of those rows, right? Because we don't need the empty rows. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna add a filter, and we're gonna filter for ID is not empty. So if I go ID, number, and I say is not empty, now look, 91, look at this, okay, 91 items there. After I filter, 4 items, because there's only 4 real people. So what happened was it got all of these rows, and then we filtered out the ones that don't have an ID, so we got the real people. But we're going to run a second filter here, which is going to be number of follow-ups. So we're going to add condition, and we're going to look for a number of follow. I'm put this on this side because we're going to be dealing with a lot of this side. Follow-ups is here. Follow-ups, and we're going to check is less than 3. Because if we have followed up 3 times or more, we're going to stop. We don't want to be spamming inboxes of people. So as long as follow-ups is less than 3, we can follow up some more. But if the follow-ups are at 3, it's going to stop and they won't make it past this filter, obviously. These will all make it past this filter because they all have 0 follow-up rates right now, but otherwise they won't. But now there's another problem that we have to think about. For some of these people, we don't we have started the sequence, or we might have not started the sequence. Okay, so if I, for example, just tick this box here and say that Ari Sajan, he's in the nurturing sequence already, and I run this flow, the good news is that it still comes through because we haven't checked whether they're in the nurturing sequence or not. What the thing is we want to do is we want to make sure that the people we're sending emails to, that we're going to send a certain follow-up email to, how deep into the nurturing sequence are there? How deep are they in the nurturing sequence? We need to know that, because if they're just getting in the nurturing sequence now, then the email has to be a very like icebreaker email, versus if it's their third follow-up, we just want to be very clear about what our intentions are. So we're adding another filter here, where we're going to check for started sequence here. We're going to call false. Now when I run this one, you're going to see Ari Sajan will not make it through to this side because started sequence was true. I mean, yeah, started sequence was true. It's true. And we're looking for all the ones that are false. But for all we know, he could have been in started sequence and have only had one follow-up, and his last follow-up was, let's say, on Thursday, so more than 3 days ago. That means he needs to have an email sent to him. But how do we also include him in this list then? We're going to go add condition, you're going to do or, and here we're going to type a little bit of JavaScript. I don't need it to be too intimidating, but just like it's a little bit of JavaScript. So you put the 2 curlies, we're gonna put JSON, and then we're gonna look for the sequence last date. There it is. Okay, I don't know why it just turned red all of a sudden. We're gonna get sequence last date, and now we're gonna put a question mark, which is just gonna be a way for us to get the variables, date, time, and you're gonna do dot from format, okay, and now we're gonna put the let me put this in the big one. We'll put the parentheses there, and we're gonna write JSON, okay. Again, we're gonna call now another JSON object. So we'll do this, and we're gonna grab the same thing again, sequence last date, okay. And now you're gonna put a comma, and here's the format. We want it to match the format of the date in Google Sheets. Otherwise, it can't compare. You'll see what I mean. If I do m/d/1234, y, and then I simply come out of this, put this here, and we'll write now. So that will be the default one. The reason we're doing this is because we want to come here, again, go to expression, and you're going to write now dot minus, you're going to write the number 3 and then days in single brackets, and turn on convert types. This is what's happening. If we don't do this, then N8N will be trying to compare the random numbers of this date, 1/8/2026, with the actual date of 2 days minus today. It can't compare a string to a date. So we need to compare a date to a date. That's what this does. Now, if I execute this step, ours should also come through here, and it didn't. And the reason it didn't is because this is false. Okay, this is actually a good point for us to figure something out. What happens if you can't have the last date and have this also be false, right? And at the same time, we're also looking at where follow-ups are less than 3. So ideally, we can actually just take out this entire one and look at people, but this means that anybody's whose is 0, right, won't come through. Okay, what if we take this date time and we say is we're gonna go with is before, and now I add back in the condition of started sequence. So if we look at started sequence and we're looking for false, and I run this now, what do we get? Okay, so this is the same thing. Now, if I remove this and I execute this, now we should probably get all 4 of the people who we need to email. So let's go ahead and look at sequence last date is empty. Sequence last date has a date over there. So the question is, why is it not getting it? So this has fed it sequence last date as all these are empty. So let me just try rerun this entire thing. Yeah, so we only get Aris Sajan as the person who needs to get an email. Now, if I go back and I put started sequence here and I put false and I run the whole thing again, I think the issue was that this node was not being updated. Okay, awesome. So we have all 4. We have all 4 because it includes people who haven't got a single email and people who have got an email but have not received another email within the last 3 days, and that email would be less than the third email total we've sent them. That's what that's okay. That's what this is. All right, anyways, now look, we're gonna go into a loop again because we don't want to run it all at once for the same thing. I'm gonna delete this, and this I'm gonna go into a switch node. Now, there's a reason I'm gonna go into a switch node, and it's because we're gonna look at how many follow-ups have happened and then split the emails based on that. So here's what I mean. We're gonna go here. I'm gonna get follow-ups, bring it there, and we're gonna check if it's less than, and this is a number. All right, we're gonna look for it's a number, and we're gonna see less than. If it's less than 1, meaning they haven't received a single email from us, and then we're gonna check if it's less than 2, meaning they received 1 email from us. If it's less than 2, and we're gonna have a third route, which is if it's less than 3. And the reason we're doing it this way is so that if it's 3, it won't make it through because we're gonna stop following up at 3. Now, obviously, you can change the logic if you want to stop following up after 5 emails or 10 emails. But for the sake of this, we're gonna say is less than 3. Now, anybody who has received 1 email, 2 emails, 0 emails, 1 email, 2 emails is here. Anybody who's gotten 3 emails from us will not make it past this filter. Okay, and there's a reason for that. Like I said, we want to stop at that point. Now, these on done, I'm gonna just have it do nothing, no operation. Just click that, so nothing happens really when it finishes doing this thing. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna press the plus, and you're gonna type LLM chain, and you're gonna get this basic LLM chain. Okay, now here's the part of using AI. So we're gonna go here, I'm gonna put define below, and here you're gonna write this prompt, which I'm gonna show you in a second. Okay, this is the prompt we're gonna write. Now I'm gonna put it in the description so you can just copy it over there. You don't need to write it yourself. It's gonna be in the user message here. So we'll just go to expression, and this is that. Okay, now there's 2 things we're gonna do now. We're gonna enable require specific output format, and we're gonna add a second prompt. This is going to be a system prompt. Now, the system prompt is the information we want the AI to have, but it's going to be the stuff that doesn't change. So, for example, this email stuff will change. Every time the name will change, the calendar link will change. Okay, so because of that, we're having it in the user message. The system message is stuff that will not change. And even this, I'm gonna post it in the description. Just copy it and paste it in. Okay, now we enabled the model and we have enabled, sorry, output parser. The model, you're gonna click this, you're gonna go to open router, chat model, pick the one you had. I made one called sales, and you can just go through this and just pick any model you want. Now, I really recommend you use Gemini or Claude. There's a Claude one. Go ahead, use Opus 4. It's cheaper than 4.5. Or if you can, then you can also go ahead and use Gemini. But just pick any model that you want to use. But if pick between Gemini 3, Opus 4, or GPT-5, those will probably be your best bets. All right, so I went ahead and I chose Gemini, but like I said, you can use any that you want. Okay, now for the output parser. What this is how we decide what kind of output we want the agent to have. So if we want the agent to output specific formats, we use the output parser. So for example, here we used a JSON parser, right? With this is the schema. I'm going to explain this to you right now, so don't worry about that. Go to structured output parser, and you're going to need to pick using JSON schema, paste in the schema. All this is already going to be in the description, so you can just use it from there. What do we want from this LLM? I want two things, a subject and a content. Why? Because the subject will be the email subject and the content will be the newsletter, or whatever the email, I'm calling it a newsletter content. I want those two things because the next thing I'm connecting to my LLM chain is a Gmail node to send a message. So you're going to click send message. You're going to pick the account that you already had set up in the credentials part. Two, this will be the email that the lead or this person in the CRM has. We have subject and we have message. So for subject and message, this is what I'm talking about. We need those two things to come from the LLM. Okay, so I'll show you this. We will run it really quickly and get rid of that for a second. So if I go here and I execute this step, we should just get one because we've set the batch size to 1. We have one item there. I run this. This is somebody who has received one email from us, right? Because the person is Aris, and we look here, 1. So they're going to be receiving the second email, okay? But just for the sake of it, I'm going to just turn this into 0, just so you can see how this is going to work in terms of the agent. Okay, so I'll just execute this from the start. It goes, filters, whatever. Now it's gone to this, and you can see that the output is subject and content. That is purely because we have this schema here. Without this schema, we would just get a large block of text. So we have the schema, which is important. Now we go to the Gmail node. We go to send a message node here. 2, if I go to the get row, who did we get? Actually, we'll grab it from the switch. Whose email is this? Contact email. Put it there. Subject, that came from the LLM chain. Put it there. The content is the message. Now, if you look at this, this is text and is not HTML. So we're going to put text. Okay. Now, this is going to send it to ed@gmail.com, but I don't want it to do that because that's not a real email. I'm going to put my email here just for you guys to see what happens when I execute this step. It's basically going to send the email to me from myself because I put my email there. But you'll see Hi Ed, I wanted to follow up on our recent message about AI solutions. I know your inbox is probably overflowing, so I'll keep this brief, whatever, whatever, whatever. Plus a Calendly link right there. All right, so this is something that we're just pretty much going to copy and paste 2 more times because we're going to connect this to here and this one into this one. Now, this one, we're going to edit the prompt. So if I go here, I'm going to grab this new prompt. Again, all of this is already available to you, so you don't need to copy it right now and paste it. It's all in the description. So we'll do down. That's for people who have received 1 email from us. And people who have already received 2 emails from us but have not booked a call will be this third one here. So paste this in right there. You can see like the third one, it says here, I don't want to be flooding your inbox. I believe AI could do this for you, whatever. If you ever want to explore more, and if you want me to reach out again, I'll do it next quarter. So this is literally good proof of how it's going to change emails based on where the lead is or where the customer is in the pipeline. Okay, now this is very messy, so I'm just gonna move it down here. Um, put this here and this there. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to update this, right? This, because now you can see I sent an email to arisargent2@gmail.com just now, but according to this thing, there's still no follow-up record or the start, which we had ticked ourselves before. It should have been ticked by the agent. So this is all still clean when in fact it should be reflecting the changes that happened. So to do that, we're simply gonna go here. You're gonna go to Sheets. You're gonna pick Update Row, which is this one, Update Row in Sheet. Okay, and we're gonna map each column. Okay, this is the wrong account for me. Sorry. We're gonna go to the CRM. We're gonna pick sheet 1. We're going to use the email address to match the whatever, right? So we just gonna go to the get rows. Here it is. We're gonna match on the contact email. So I'm gonna put the email right there, the ID. This is already filled in actually. We don't need to do this right now. Let's delete that. The only thing we want to change right now is we want to tick this started sequence. We want to fill in this date and we want to add 1 to this follow-up counter. That's all we want to do right now. So you're going to get started sequence, right, true. Sequence last date. This is going to be today. So this is now dot format, and I'm going to put dash, we're going to call month, day, and then year. That's today. And then follow-ups, we're going to grab the follow-up counter, which is here. And I'm simply going to write here, I'm going to write +1 like that. And delete all the other entries because those are going to be filled later on as we progress through this build in the next couple of videos. Okay, so now I have this. Now that if I just execute this step here, you can see now if I go back here, we have tick the box, this here, this here. Now it just sent an email to Ed, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, hi Ed. Okay, so we matched on that email, managed to tick the box and go to the follow-up. Now, obviously, when you run this system without starting and stopping it the way we've been doing, it will continue just to perform as it should. But right now, we're going to do a lot of things manually just so that you can understand where and what the system is doing and how it's all working. Okay, that is the follow-up sequence. I'm going to call this the CRM watcher, and manager. Okay, I'm just gonna write here CRM, watcher, and manager. This is a different one. I'm gonna just wrap it in this thing here. This is not really necessary, but it's just good for like organization. This is gonna be the follow-up sequence. Follow-up sequence. Save this. Okay, now the last two are gonna be one, when someone schedules a meeting, we wanna mark this thing as call scheduled. And the second thing is we want to check at the end of the day, did they attend the call? Did the call happen? If the call happened, all good. Send them an email about the call, how good it was, the reviews, whatever happened in the call. If the call didn't happen, send them another email to reschedule the call. So those are the last two, which is these two right here. Okay, so now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna press, a new trigger. We need a new trigger now because we're gonna call Calendly. So you're gonna go Calendly right there and look for on event created. Now this means that whenever an event is created, meaning that when I go click on this link that came in the email from this agent, okay, I'm gonna run this trigger right now. And by the way, when you're in here, make sure you just go ahead and select the select the correct credential, the one that you made earlier. I'm gonna execute this step, but nothing is gonna happen right now. But if I click on the link that it sent me, I will pick the 12th at 8 o'clock, press next. My name is Ed, my email is ed@gmail.com. Schedule event. Awesome, event scheduled. And as you can see, we now have a green tick over here. And I'm going to pin this data just because I want you guys to look at it. So we now have all of this information. So what I can do now is I can take this and I can check. I can use an if node here, and I'm going to check if the event name, where's event name? Okay, we're gonna search for event type, event membership, event guest, scheduled event. So what event was scheduled just now by Ed? Here it is, event name. So if event name is equal to 30-minute meeting, then it means that the event that happened was a creation of an event that we need to pay attention to. So we're gonna keep this. This will obviously give us a true because it is true. That's the name of the event. And all we're gonna do now is update the sheet. So we're gonna mark it in the CRM. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna go to Google Sheets. We're gonna do update row in sheet. So we update row in sheet. I'm gonna get the CRM. I'm gonna choose sheet 1. We're gonna map them manually. We're gonna map it on the contact email. The contact email is the one that was in the if node. We're gonna put it there. And all we're gonna do now is look for call scheduled. I see it. I just deleted it by mistake. Okay. I'm gonna put it back just now anyways. Add column to send. I'm looking for call scheduled. And I'm gonna turn this to true. So right now, Ed has not scheduled a call with us. But the moment the agent sees that we have a call scheduled with Ed, it's then going to update the CRM and we have call scheduled as now ticked. So that's That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Okay, the next thing now we want to do is gonna be with the URI. So this is the algorithm that so you guys can watch it happen live. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to Sheets. I'm gonna go to Append or Update Row in Sheet. What we're gonna do now is choose the CRM still, but we're gonna choose the URI, and we're gonna match on the email. So if I go here, this is the email, and now I need the URI. The URI is gonna be this really long thing here, right? It's json.payload.scheduled_event.uri, and this, copy this, paste it in, and we're gonna just do dot start underscore time. Okay, so if I execute this step and I come here, you see we have this, and we can, he's scheduled for 5 p.m. Now that's not the time I picked, but the time zone is different, so that's why that's like that. So he picked 5 p.m. and now we have that information there. So this is basically going to be our event checker. Okay, that's what this is. It's going to check for anybody that has an event, and if they have an event, it's going to update it. So this is just going to be the event, or check if call scheduled. Okay. Now, the last part of this workflow, and probably the one I think is the most impressive and important, is how we're going to use a HTTP request node to check if that event actually occurred or not. There's a chance that the person who was supposed to attend didn't attend and missed the meeting. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a schedule trigger here, run it at the end of every day. So I'll just put, for example, I'll put here trigger at 10 p.m. every day, right? So 10 p.m. every day, it's going to run and it's going to check some things. What is it going to check? It's going to check if the meeting happened. How are we going to check that? We're going to go to get row, Google Sheets, right? Get the row in the sheet. We're going to get the URI. So we're going to go here, a CRM. I'm going to choose URI. And all right, so if I just run this step, we're going to get a URI, which is the one that was in there. And now we're gonna need to filter this, because if you think about it, I could have very many of these times starting, but I could have one for tomorrow, for example. I don't want the agent to check if that meeting has happened, because it can't have happened yet if it's tomorrow. We wanted to check only the ones that were supposed to happen today. Did they happen? So we're gonna go filter. And again, it's a little bit on the complicated side, but it's just JSON. So if I just gonna go here and just copy this entire thing, and I'll explain it to you. So this is the value that we're pasting in. So we're grabbing the start time and we're formatting it to be in this so that we can compare it to what? To today. Right? So today is what we're comparing it to. And we're checking if it's equal to today. So if I execute this step, there is none. And the reason for that is because my meeting with Ed is for the 12th and today is the 11th. So it won't check if that meeting happened, because it can't have already happened. But there will obviously be some that are scheduled for today and that can. So we're going to add a loop to pretty much go through those one at a time and check if they occurred. So how we're going to check if they actually occurred or not is by using a HTTP request. So we're going to come here, open HTTP request, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go get, and the URI is going to be obviously, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to change this to be today at 5 p.m. just so you can see that. Now if I run this, okay, let's run this whole thing. Time start is at 5. Okay, so this is supposed to be done yesterday. And what we're checking is, what is this? Start time. Oh my God, sorry. This is supposed to be time start. This is supposed to be time start. Okay. Um, okay. Now that I have that, I can run this, and this is checking if the 10th is today, which it's not today. So that's good. It's working. If I make this 11 and I run this, sorry, run it from here. The 11th of January is not the 12th. Jesus. Okay. Okay. Make that 12, and this should actually work. There's so many, it's the time zone problem. By the way, what you should do to solve all of this is just go to settings. And I'm in Africa, but the time zone is set to Asia. So that's the thing. So, make sure your time zone is correct. That's a way. You just need to get your time zone correct. So it'll be a lot easier for you when you have your time zone all right and everything like that. Anyways, the final thing that we're gonna do is just set up the HTTP request. So here, we're gonna go here, call a HTTP request, keep it on get, and this is gonna be the URI we're gonna call. Authentication is gonna be predefined credential type, and this is gonna be the Calendly API that we had already done. And I'm gonna call it on account one. Now, if I execute this step, you can get a bunch of data about this meeting that was supposed to happen. And the main thing we're gonna look for is, so press this, type set field, and here we're gonna just do no, we're gonna just name it no show. And the part we're looking for is actually called, it's in the resource. So go ahead and resource, and looking for, honestly, I'll just type it. It's json.resource.no show, which is an indicator that we might not have called the URI correctly, because it should be part of the data that we get out of this HTTP node. So status push. So this is what we have here. And if I come here, you can see we currently don't have access to the no-show. Now, this might just be because the meeting was in the past. And so if no-show is null, right? So if it is undefined and I execute this step, what I get is null, which is exactly what I want, right? Because you can see how we made it think the meeting already happened and it's null. So it being null means that, so I can go here and I can put an if node here, and what we're gonna do is if no show is empty, okay, so I run this, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say that this person didn't show up for the meeting. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go sheet, I'm gonna update row sheet, I'm gonna choose my CRM, I'm gonna choose sheet 1, and I'm going to choose the email, the contact email, and that's the email. And I want to look for meeting. So showed call is false. He did not show up to the call. Now, obviously, the call didn't happen because we've manually set it, but this thing will be able to pull the data from the HTTP request and determine whether he came or not. Now, when I execute this step and I come here and I go to sheet 1, you can see that the showed call is not ticked, right? Because they didn't show up to the call. If they did, it would be ticked. And then for false, we are going to go again, and we're just going to copy this actually. Just duplicate this one, bring it down here, connect it up. This one we're going to say true. They did show up to the call. And now here you can go ahead and send a specific email to people who didn't show up, telling them, to reschedule. And here you can send an email about how the meeting went and everything like that. So that's pretty much the full agent. It is going to take you about an hour or two to put together, but once you have it running, it's not going to stop running. And so this one, we're going to connect it back into the loop, and this one connects back into the loop. And that's that. Hope you enjoyed. Very long video, I know, but it's a big agent and it's very useful if you have a small to medium-sized business and you can do a lot with it. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.